Hi, how's everybody doing today? We are back with another video and we're going to talk about how you can improve your memory. And I want to let everybody know that this is more geared towards both undergraduate and medical school students. If you're not an actual student in an academic setting, this may not work or you may not choose to use these strategies. But if you are an undergraduate or a medical student, you can start using these strategies to improve your memory. And as always, this video is presented by TME Consulting. All of our information will be in our bio. So let's say you have a ton of material that you have to learn before your next exam. Now, there's a certain set of time that you have to follow, and you could either study the way you have been and maybe not be able to retain it, or you could follow these upcoming strategies to help you master the material that you have to drill home in that certain amount of time. So the three most valuable ways of improving your memory: number one, repetition; number two, mnemonics; and number three is going to be active learning. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper on each of these and talk a little bit more about what you could do to sort of attack them to hopefully help you study for the upcoming exam or even a standardized test such as the MCAT or the USMLE Step 1. Now, number one is repetition, and I think this is the most important. So say you were trying to learn Spanish. To do that, you would probably look at each of the new words multiple times, try to form sentences, repeat the words, repeat the sentences, repeat the words, repeat the sentences in Spanish, and try and get used to it. And hopefully that will lead to you having conversations with other people who speak Spanish. And it was because you're repeating those words and drilling those home into your memory that you got very familiar with them. And much like learning a foreign language, medicine is also like that. And sometimes it also feels like that in your undergraduate studies in terms of biochem and chemistry. So what we recommend for repetition's sake is to go through your notes multiple times before exams. Now, you'll probably know what day your exam is, so you'll have plenty of time to sort of say, okay, I want to set aside 2 weeks leading up to it to study the material. Sometimes you may not get all the material you need, however, you could start ahead. For medical school, I think the same way. I think that studying your notes multiple times to basically grab a little bit of information each time to basically put together a full story. That's good for short term. I would say for long term, you should definitely look into Anki. For undergraduate students, you may be, kind of forced to make your own cards, or you could look for decks online through Reddit or other forums. However, for medical students, I definitely recommend Zanki. Obviously, this deck has been out there, it's known, and it definitely works very well. And that's something that you should start to be doing, your first year of medical school. Maybe not the first week, get used to it, get used to medical school and sort of how everything moves, but you should definitely incorporate that in your routine to help you out. Now, up next, let's talk mnemonics. A lot of people like them, a lot of people don't. However, they could be used as a really good way to improve your memory. Now, mnemonics could come in many different forms. They could be short poems, acronyms, or different sort of short phrases. But basically, the whole premise of it is to maybe take some information that you think is mundane and to put it into a story that makes it easier for you to remember. Now, for me personally, this isn't a number one study tactic. However, once I got to medical school and I started using first aid loves mnemonics. For basically every subject, there's always a few mnemonics there, and to be honest with you, they really helped a lot, so I've actually become a fan, so you should definitely look into them. So up next, let's talk about active learning. Now, this is honestly one of my favorites because it basically takes the information that you know and tries to put it into question format. So for active learning, what I mean, number one is questions. The best way to test your knowledge and to know that you have something down pat is to do questions. Now, you may think to yourself, well, that's not really enhancing my memory. Well, number two is question review. This is how you improve your memory in an active way. So basically, when you answer a question, whether you get it right or get it wrong, you have to review it and then dig a little bit deeper onto why you maybe didn't get it right. Now, I'm not saying you have to spend 45 minutes on a question that you got correct, and I'm not saying you have to spend 45 minutes on a question you got wrong, but just know that if you got a question right because of luck, you should definitely go back and review it because obviously that topic didn't stick that well. And then if you got a question wrong, definitely go back and review why you got wrong, the correct maybe pathway that you have to look into, or maybe you have to see how a substrate builds up. Basically, When you get a question wrong, it fuels the fire to go back and learn a subject harder. So I would say do a lot of questions and do a ton of question review. This is really good with supplemental textbooks while leading up to an exam, or with even practice tests for the MCAT and Step 1. And as always, if you incorporate these, they should work. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. You can contact us at trifectameconsulting@gmail.com, and you can visit our website at www.trifectameconsulting.com. Thank you.